I want to thank the governor. I want to thank the treasurer. I know that it's not easy to negotiate things, particularly over the summertime into the fall when we're not in regular session. We were confident as a caucus that we were right that this fund was important, even before the government shutdown. It only became more important as the government shut down. And again, whether it's going to end in January or February, we don't know. There's a lot of volatility, not only with SNAP, frankly, with the Washington, D.C. right now. And the fund, I think, becomes more important. It's a sign to Connecticut residents that we have a backstop to fill you whether we're in regular session or we're not in regular session. I want to thank OPM. I want to thank the secretary and his team. I know they worked very hard on this. And I was driving my son, smelling his axe as hard in the car, but I was dealing with it on the way to soccer on Saturday morning. I got a call from Commissioner Barton Reeves, who had been working nonstop for days to try to get the SNAP cards funded over the weekend. And she called me to apologize because she said, I don't know. The advice is changing. And I said, an apology from you? You don't need to apologize to anybody. State government, with people like Commissioner Barton Reeves, worked overtime to make sure this happened for our residents of the state of Connecticut. And I hope people who are sometimes skeptical of government, and I get it, right? It's not perfect, understand the amount of work that went in dealing with the fluctuations from the guidance from the federal government to get people their benefits. And when we sent that email out on Saturday night, I've never, in all my years in the legislature, gotten such a positive response from people in my email blast than when we said we fully funded SNAP. Independents, Rs, Ds, people were very happy that Connecticut stepped up. And I just want to introduce who's going to go next is Representative Candelora, our House leader, minority leader. If I was ever the Speaker of a chamber that left town while people went hungry, I would resign in 5 seconds. You could have my gavel and I'd go back to my private life. Culture is really, really important. And the governor's done a wonderful job in his years of creating a culture here. And I know in the House, we've tried very hard to create a culture, not of universal agreement, not that there's not Republicans and Democrats, but we always have to communicate. And the worst case scenario is that you shut down and you stop talking to one another. Vinny could always take the easier path, right? Which is ignore my phone calls, which can be early in the morning sometimes and constant, quite frankly. And he always is honest and forthright. And he said to me, we're not going to let people go hungry. How can I help? So I don't know what goes on in Washington. I'm not here to lambaste anybody or criticize anybody. But in Connecticut, you have a culture where people of all parties said, enough is enough. We're going to do better by our residents and by our citizens. So just as I thanked the governor's staff and his commissioners for the hard work they did, I can be criticized by any Democrat, go right ahead. We would not be here today without the work of my colleague in the Senate, Marty Looney, and Representative Candelora, and I'm glad to introduce him. Thanks, Vin.